My beloved child, stop scrolling and listen closely, because somewhere beneath the silence you have been trying to understand, a decision is being made that could change the direction of two hearts forever. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of an emotional choice they never imagined they would have to make. They have not stopped caring about you. They have not forgotten the sound of your voice, the warmth hidden inside your smallest gestures, or the strange peace they once felt whenever your name appeared. The truth is far more emotional than that. They are about to give up because they have convinced themselves that holding on is causing you pain. Stay with me. There is something hidden beneath their decision, and when it is finally revealed, everything you thought you understood about this distance will look different. Tonight, they are sitting alone beside a window, watching the soft glow of the evening fade from the sky. The room is quiet, but their thoughts are louder than they have been in months. On the table before them rests an unfinished message. They have written it, erased it, rewritten it, and stared at it until every sentence began to blur. The message does not say that they stopped loving you. It says they are stepping away because they believe you deserve a life untouched by their confusion. They think your silence was an answer. They think your distance was a door closing. They believe they waited too long, made too many mistakes, and allowed too many meaningful moments to pass without speaking the truth. But don't look away now, because their entire decision is built upon something that was never true. There was a message intended for them, one that could have changed everything, but it never reached their hands. There was a conversation they were supposed to hear, but someone ended it before your soulmate entered the room. There was also a promise you carried quietly, believing they already knew, while they spent night after night wondering whether they had imagined the connection between you. This is where the story begins. Not with a goodbye, but with two people who both believed the other had chosen to leave. Your soulmate reaches for the unfinished message again, yet their fingers stop above the screen. Something inside them refuses to press the final button. They look toward a small wooden box resting on the opposite side of the table. They have kept it hidden for a long time. Inside are the quiet pieces of your story. A folded receipt from a day that seemed ordinary but became unforgettable, a ribbon from a gift they never had the courage to give you, a dried flower from a place where you once smiled without realizing they were watching, and a small silver key that opens nothing they can remember. That key has always confused them. It appeared inside the box after the last time you were near, and they assumed it belonged to you. Many times, they considered returning it, but every time they held it, a feeling rose inside them that said, "Not yet." Tonight, however, they have decided to place everything into an envelope and remove every reminder of you from their sight. They tell themselves it is the mature thing to do. They tell themselves love sometimes means releasing someone. Yet as they lift the box, the silver key slips from their hand and falls onto the floor. It does not land beneath the table. It slides across the room and stops beside an old cabinet that has not been opened in years. The moment feels too precise to ignore. Stay till the end, because the cabinet contains the first revelation, but it is not the greatest one. Your soulmate kneels, picks up the key, and notices a narrow keyhole beneath the cabinet's lowest drawer. They had never seen it before. The key fits perfectly. When they turn it, they hear a soft click, and a hidden compartment opens. Inside is a cream-colored envelope wrapped in blue thread. Their breath becomes still when they see what is written across the front. It is their name, but the handwriting is unmistakably yours. Do not skip. Your soulmate is now holding words you wrote when you believed hope was still possible. The envelope carries an old date, from the very week everything between you began to change. This means the letter had been hidden before the distance grew, before the misunderstandings became heavy, and before your soulmate began telling themselves you had moved on. But who placed it there? Why was it never delivered? And why did the silver key appear at exactly the right time? Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate breaks the blue thread, but before opening the envelope, they notice a tiny symbol pressed into the wax seal, 2 lanterns beneath a single star. They have seen this symbol only once before, carved into a bench at the place where you first shared something honest with each other. That evening, neither of you called it love. Neither of you made a promise. Yet both of you felt that something had quietly shifted. Your soulmate remembers how the wind moved through the trees, how you looked away when the moment became too real, and how both of you left carrying words you were too afraid to say. They once returned to that bench alone and discovered the lantern symbol carved beneath it. They assumed it had always been there. Now the same symbol is on a letter written by you. Your answer is closer than you think. The connection was not created in their imagination, and it was never one-sided. Your soulmate opens the envelope slowly. The first line makes them cover their mouth as emotion rises through them. If you are reading this, then something found a way to finish what fear interrupted. They read it again. Then once more. Their carefully prepared goodbye message remains unfinished on the table while your words begin bringing the past back to life. In the letter, you explain that you sensed them pulling away, but instead of confronting them, you listened to someone who claimed your soulmate needed freedom from the connection. You were told that your presence had become too intense for them. You were told they were planning a new life and did not want to hurt you by saying it directly. You stepped back because you loved them, not because you stopped caring. You waited for them to reach out, but they never did. What you did not know was that your soulmate had been told almost the same story about you. They were led to believe you felt trapped by their emotions. They were told that every attempt to contact you would make things harder. 2 hearts were separated by mirrored words, each person believing silence was an act of kindness. What comes next changes everything. Your soulmate turns the page, but the letter ends in the middle of a sentence. The second page is missing. At the bottom of the first page, you wrote, "There is one truth I have never told you, and if you ever learn it, you will understand why I could never truly, the rest is gone." Your soulmate searches inside the envelope, beneath the cabinet, and through every corner of the box, but the missing page is nowhere to be found. A truth you never told them is now only a few words away, yet the person who hid this letter removed the part that mattered most. Your soulmate looks toward the clock. It reads 11 minutes past 11. 2 candles on the shelf, placed far apart, begin flickering in the same rhythm even though the window is closed. The room seems to hold its breath. Your soulmate whispers your name, not because they expect an answer, but because it is the only word that feels honest. Then a sound rises from the hallway, 3 quiet knocks against the door. They freeze. No one was expected. The knocks come again, slower this time, and your soulmate realizes that the unfinished goodbye is no longer the only decision waiting tonight. Stay with me, because the person standing outside is carrying the part of the story that was taken from both of you. Your soulmate opens the door and finds a woman whose face carries years of regret. She is someone they know well, someone they trusted, and someone they never imagined could be connected to the distance between you. It is their mother. In her hands is a second envelope sealed with the same image of two lanterns beneath one star. She does not enter immediately. For a moment, she simply looks at her child, then toward the wooden box on the table, and realizes the hidden compartment has finally been opened. Her eyes fill with emotion, but she does not turn away. "You found the letter," she says softly. Your soulmate asks the question that has been building inside them since the key turned: why was it hidden? The woman closes her eyes as though she has rehearsed this confession many times but never found the courage to speak it. When she finally steps into the room, the atmosphere changes. She explains that the letter arrived months ago on a day when your soulmate was away. She recognized your name. She had already heard about you, not through complaints, but through the way her child's voice changed whenever you were mentioned. She knew the connection mattered. That was exactly what frightened her. Long ago, before your soulmate understood love, this woman had given her heart to someone who promised to remain but chose a different road without explanation. She carried that unfinished story into her family and mistook her old wound for wisdom. When she saw your letter, she believed she was protecting her child from the same disappointment. She placed it inside the cabinet, intending to wait only a few days. But days became weeks, the distance between you grew, and admitting what she had done became harder. Don't look away now. Her decision was wrong, but the emotional twist is that she never disliked you. She was frightened by how deeply your soulmate cared. She had never seen them look at anyone with such hope. She feared that if the connection broke, they would never recover. So she tried to weaken something before it became powerful enough to hurt them. Instead, her interference created the very sorrow she was trying to prevent. Your soulmate does not know whether to speak or remain silent. They feel betrayed, but beneath that feeling is another realization: you did reach out. You did not abandon them. You wrote the truth, placed it inside an envelope, and trusted it to find its destination. For months, they had replayed every memory, searching for the moment when your feelings changed. Now they know your feelings may never have changed at all. Their mother places the second envelope on the table. She admits that the missing page was not inside the first envelope when it arrived. Someone had opened the letter before it reached the house, removed the final page, resealed it, and then delivered it without a return address. She knows this because the blue thread around the envelope was already loose, and the wax symbol had been pressed twice. One impression was yours. The other came from a ring belonging to someone who had visited their home several times during the months of separation. Your soulmate looks again at the lantern seal and notices what they missed. Beneath the star is a faint second mark, an unfamiliar initial hidden inside the wax. Suddenly, memories begin rearranging themselves. A mutual acquaintance who repeatedly offered advice. A person who always seemed to know when you had tried to reach out. Someone who told your soulmate you needed space, then told you the same thing about them. Someone who appeared helpful while quietly making sure neither of you asked the other a direct question. Something huge is waiting for you, because this was not a random misunderstanding. The silence was carefully maintained. Yet the reason behind it is not what anyone expects. Their mother says she confronted that person earlier tonight after finally admitting she still possessed your letter. At first, the person denied everything. Then she placed the envelope beneath the light and showed them the second impression in the wax. Their expression changed. They confessed to removing one page, but they refused to explain why. Instead, they handed her the second envelope and said, "Give this to them only if they find the key on their own." Your soulmate looks toward the silver key. The room grows quiet again. This is where the story begins, because that key was not left by accident. Someone knew the hidden compartment would eventually be opened, but they wanted it to happen only when your soulmate was close enough to giving up that the truth could no longer be postponed. The woman urges them to read the new envelope, but your soulmate hesitates. Their world has already shifted within minutes. The goodbye message on the screen suddenly feels like something written by a stranger. Every sentence was based on the belief that you did not want them. Now hope is returning, but hope frightens them because it asks them to feel everything they spent months trying to silence. Stay with me. There is no ordinary letter inside that second envelope. Your soulmate opens it and discovers a photograph, a train ticket, and a short note written in handwriting they do not recognize. The photograph shows the bench where the lantern symbol was carved. It was taken after sunset, and someone is standing near the edge of the frame. The face cannot be seen clearly, but the coat and posture look familiar. On the back of the photograph are 4 words, "You both returned alone." Your soulmate remembers going back to the bench weeks after your last meaningful conversation. They sat there for almost an hour, wondering whether they should contact you. What they never knew was that you had returned on the very same day, only minutes after they left. The photograph proves someone witnessed both visits. Someone saw your soulmate waiting, saw you arrive later, and allowed each of you to believe the other never came back. The train ticket carries the same date. Its destination is the town where you were staying at the time. It was purchased in your soulmate's name, but they never bought it. The short note explains that a journey had been planned for them, then quietly cancelled before they ever heard about it. The person who interfered did not merely hide a letter. They prevented a meeting that might have ended the separation months ago. Why would someone go so far? Your answer is closer than you think, but first your soulmate must face the most painful truth. While they believed you had chosen another future, you were waiting for a sign that they still cared. The mother reaches into her pocket and removes a folded card. She says this was given to her with the second envelope. On the card is a sentence. The final page will be returned at midnight, but only after the goodbye message is sent. Your soulmate immediately looks at the clock. It is now only a few minutes before midnight. The person holding the missing page expects them to send the message that ends the connection. It feels like a test, but no one understands what is being tested. The mother urges them not to send anything, yet your soulmate notices another detail. Their unfinished message has changed. A sentence appears on the screen that they did not write: "If you let go tonight, you may never learn why they waited." They stare at the words. The phone had been lying untouched. No notification appeared. No one else is in the room except their mother. The sentence remains, glowing beneath everything your soulmate had written. Don't skip. Whether it arrived through a delayed draft, an unexpected synchronization, or a mystery neither person can yet explain, its timing is impossible to ignore. Your soulmate deletes the goodbye message one line at a time. As each sentence disappears, the weight inside them begins to lift. They are not ready to assume everything can be repaired, but they are no longer willing to surrender to a story built by someone else. The last sentence vanishes. Midnight arrives. Nothing happens for 3 seconds. Then the phone rings. The number is hidden. Your soulmate answers, and a familiar voice says, "You were not supposed to delete that message." It is the mutual acquaintance, the person who carried words between you, changed their meaning, removed the final page, and cancelled the journey. Their voice is not angry. It sounds emotional, almost relieved. "Now I know," they whisper. You still love them enough to question what you were told. Your soulmate demands the missing page. The caller says it is safe, but before returning it, they must reveal why everything happened. What comes next changes everything. The interference did not begin because this person wanted your soulmate for themselves. It began because you once asked them for help arranging a once-in-a-lifetime surprise, a surprise meant to prove that your silence was never rejection. But after learning what you intended to reveal, they became convinced the truth would change too many lives at once. They panicked. They delayed the letter, interrupted the meeting, and told themselves they were waiting for a better moment. Then the lie became too large to undo. Your soulmate asks what was written on the missing page. The caller takes a slow breath and answers. It explains why the silver key belongs to both of you, why the lantern symbol appears in places neither of you placed it, and why your first meeting was not truly your first. Before your soulmate can ask another question, the call ends. A message appears with a location, the bench beneath the lantern carving. Beneath it are the words, "Come before the first light. Come alone if you want the page. Bring the key if you want the truth." Your soulmate looks toward the window. The darkness outside no longer feels empty. It feels like a curtain waiting to rise. What comes next changes everything, because the revelation waiting at that bench reaches farther back than either of you remembers. Your soulmate places the silver key around their neck, takes the photograph and your unfinished letter, and prepares to leave. Their mother asks them to wait until morning, but something within them knows that waiting is what allowed the misunderstanding to grow. For months, everyone around them offered interpretations of your silence. Tonight, they decide they will accept no truth that does not come from you. Stay till the end, because before they reach the door, their mother confesses one last detail. The silver key once belonged to your soulmate's grandmother. It opened a small memory chest that disappeared many years ago. The grandmother used to tell a story about 2 lanterns placed in separate windows. According to her, the lanterns belonged to 2 families who shared a bond long before your soulmate was born. Whenever misunderstanding separated the families, both lanterns were lit beneath the same evening star as a reminder that distance could hide a connection but could not erase it. Your soulmate always believed it was only a family story. Yet now your letter carries the same symbol. The hidden cabinet accepted the grandmother's key, and the person holding the final page claims your first meeting was not the beginning. The mother admits that she recognized your family name the first time she heard it. She did not say anything because it reminded her of an old promise her own mother had refused to explain. That promise was connected to the missing memory chest. Years earlier, the chest had been entrusted to someone from your family, along with 2 matching keys. One key remained with your soulmate's grandmother. The other disappeared. Somehow, the key found tonight is not the key that belonged to your soulmate's family. A tiny mark beside the handle proves it is the matching key once given to yours. This means the key came through you, even if you do not remember placing it inside the box. It also means someone has been bringing the two halves of this story to